I used to be an aide at my local elementary school. The first grade teacher I helped had a class of English learners in a time when reading standards were being raised and highly regulated. They were expected to achieve gains that no one else in the school would even have to attempt. One day, during our reading center's time, Mrs. Bedell sent two students outside to some easels that were fully loaded with large paper, tempera paints, and some brushes. I understood the pressure she was under to get these kids up to a passable level, so I was confused. Why would she waste their time on painting? My face must have betrayed my thoughts because she looked at me and said, "Miss Nagano, these kids need time to create. This is how they will discover who they are." As our modern culture has developed over time, we have somehow pushed back the necessity for art and music education. With the No Child Left Behind Act in 2001, and now the Common Core standards, STEM subjects and the technical side of language arts are now the central focus in our schools. At increasingly young ages, children are expected to demonstrate more and more complex ideas in these subjects. At the end of this academic year, my kindergartner is supposed to be able to independently name plot, setting, and characters in a story, and then write about character motives in complete sentences. This is a pretty ambitious goal for some kids that might not ever sat behind a desk. Our culture tends to think that if we're failing at something, then we should spend more time on that one thing. And it seems to make sense, right? But what if we're wrong? What if along the way, we've pushed out the very things that would help us achieve academic success, and at the same time help us discover some things about ourselves that we didn't even know? Many studies suggest just that. A report by Americans for the Arts states that young people who participate in art 3 hours a day, 3 days a week, for a full year are 4 times more likely to be recognized for academic achievement, to participate in a math or science fair, or to win an award for writing an essay or a poem. Data from the College Board shows that in 2014, students who took 4 years of art and music classes in high school scored an average of 96 points higher on their SATs than students who only took a half year or less. This average is consistent for the last 15 years of data collection. Now, one might argue that these students in these studies are simply predisposed to these subjects. They might live in wealthier areas or might find pressure to excel in school. So the link is probably just a coincidence. But studies also show that arts education is helping all types of students, including those considered disadvantaged because of income or disabilities. Researchers for Champions for Change said that sustained learning in music and theater correlated to greater success in math and reading, and students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds saw the greatest benefits. In fact, learning in and through the arts helped level the playing field for youngsters from disadvantaged circumstances. And then a Harvard study showed that with regular training in the motor and listening skills needed to play an instrument, students with dyslexia showed a particular improvement in attention and memory. These studies are pretty remarkable. Each is saying that every student, no matter their background or predispositions, academically benefit from formal training in art and music. So, is it possible that all the educational woes of this country could be solved with a well-funded, mandatory, formal arts and music programs? Why are American children, with all of our wealth and excess, lagging in the world's educational standings? We're behind countries like Finland, Japan, and South Korea, who are all leaders in reading, math, and science, and who all happen to take time for art, aesthetics, and music. What can we do? Frankly, it's not likely that you or I will single-handedly change our nation's academic standards, or convince any big policymakers that there should be art or music programs in our schools. But most of us probably could manage to donate a few supplies, donate a little time, donate a little talent. Last year, the federal government gave $250 million in arts and humanities funding to schools. Now, this sounds like a lot of money, right? But when it's divided up over the 98,800 schools, public schools in the United States, each would only get about $2,500. And that's certainly not enough to hire an art teacher or even buy some instruments. We can help by donating things we probably already have in our homes. Most things we throw away can become art collages with a little bit of glue. Old dowels can become rhythm sticks, and I'll bet there's a dusty instrument or two lurking in a closet. Certainly, there are useful, creative tools for our kids that are simply taking up space in our homes. Another thing we can donate, well, is ourselves. Because standards are so high, teachers have little time for anything else. Art, music, and even storytelling have just become extras, and as teachers simply cannot do everything at once. And thanks to budget cuts, many teachers don't have access to a full-time or even a part-time aide to take small groups of kids to do anything creative. My son's teacher told me that she has to bring in kids at recess if they want to fit in an art project. Even an hour a week in a local classroom can make a huge difference. You can take 5 kids, give them 30 minutes with a paintbrush, and let them explore thoughts, feelings, and even just observe the world around them. Most teachers would be happy to give project ideas that reflect the curriculum, or there are even some pretty amazing projects online that could be researched and recreated in the classroom. An artist and childhood friend of mine said this: culturally, we don't value art as an essential practice or expression of our humanity. Lack of funding means people have to choose between supporting themselves or creating art moment by moment. The least we can do is support it as one aspect of a child's growing identity and their need to be co-creators of their experience through creating from their innermost selves. I love the idea of my kids getting a rich education that teaches the whole person, not just the academic brain. They need the problem-solving skills and the critical thinking and discipline and complex physical and mental connections that come from art and music education. The arts do not just exist to be beautiful. They are not simply indulgent or a nice extra. Art is personal, and creating helps us all grow from the inside out. I hope that all of our kids will have the chance to learn and grow, both as emotional and intellectual beings. Thank you.